Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Caroline Miller and Mahendra Patel. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. This story contains two main players, Caroline Miller and Mahendra Patel. In 2025, 26-year-old Caroline Miller lived in Cartersville, Georgia. This town is 43 miles northwest of Atlanta. She had two children, a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. 6 years earlier, in 2019, Caroline accused a Lyft driver of conducting an assault of a sexual nature against her when she fell asleep in the back seat of his vehicle. She filed a lawsuit against Lyft in 2021. At the time I'm making this video, the lawsuit is ongoing. 56-year-old Mahendra Patel lived in Kennesaw, Georgia, which is 26 miles northwest of Atlanta. He functioned as a landlord for several properties in Cobb County and surrounding counties. Mahendra lived with his wife, his two daughters, and his 86-year-old mother. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On March 18, 2025, the police received a call about an attempted kidnapping at the Walmart store on Cobb Parkway in Acworth, Georgia. Acworth is 5 miles northwest of Kennesaw. Here is what they found during the course of their investigation. Caroline Miller, her daughter, and her son were at the Walmart store shopping. They were all on a mobility scooter, even though none of them were disabled. Caroline claimed that she used the scooter because her kids liked riding it. I guess this was like a Walmart version of Space Mountain. As they made their way through the store, Caroline was in the seat of the scooter with her son on her lap and her daughter in the footwell. Her son's name is Jude. At about 8:21 p.m., Mahendra Patel approached her in the store. Caroline and Mahendra did not know each other. They were strangers. Mahendra requested assistance finding Tylenol. When Caroline pointed her arm in the direction where she believed the Tylenol was located, Mahendra reached down, put both of his hands on her 2-year-old son Jude, and pulled him out of her lap. Caroline claimed that she was able to break free after a tug-of-war, which lasted for 10 seconds. She saw Mahendra make his way to the checkout, but Caroline said she really couldn't do anything in response to the attempted abduction. The police said that Mahendra fled the area. Using surveillance cameras and other resources, the police identified Mahendra. They learned that he had purchased Tylenol and left the store about 10 minutes after the alleged incident. The police never explained why they believed this behavior was consistent with fleeing the area. Mahendra did not appear to be in a rush to exit the store. 3 days later, on March 21, 2025, Mahendra Patel was arrested and booked into jail without bond. On April 4, he was indicted on 3 charges: criminal attempt to commit kidnapping, simple assault, and simple battery. At the time I'm making this video, Mahendra is still in jail facing the charges. Now moving to my analysis. Mahendra retained an attorney. She indicated that the entire situation was a misunderstanding. Her client, Mahendra, was in the Walmart store to get Tylenol for his 86-year-old mother. Mahendra approached Caroline looking for help finding the Tylenol. As Caroline started to stand up, he became worried that her son Jude was going to fall out of her lap. He reached down to help. Caroline pulled back in response. There never was a kidnapping attempt. Mahendra was simply trying to be helpful. His attorney released a video which contains various clips from surveillance cameras in the Walmart store. The attorney argued that the video exonerates her client. There is no evidence of a crime. Let's take a look at segments of this video. The video starts at 8:16 p.m. We can see Mahendra enters the Walmart store. He can be seen wandering the store. It appears as though he was having difficulty finding the Tylenol. This is when he stumbles upon Caroline and her 2 children, who were on a mobility scooter. Both Mahendra and Caroline agree that Mahendra asked her where the Tylenol was. In the video, Caroline can be seen pointing to the location where she believed the Tylenol was located. Mahendra points to the same area, as if he is communicating that he understands where she is pointing to. Caroline drives forward a few feet as they continue their discussion. At 8:21 p.m., we come to the part of the video where Mahendra allegedly attempts to kidnap Caroline's 2-year-old son, Jude. His back is to the camera, so it's difficult to tell exactly what happened. It looks like he briefly places his hands on Jude, then quickly lets go. Immediately after this, Caroline and Mahendra continue moving in the direction they had been pointing. It does not appear as though anybody is upset. Caroline makes no effort to call for help, and Mahendra continues walking. There's at least one man nearby, reportedly an employee, who may have witnessed the encounter. He is wearing an orange shirt. This man does not appear to be alarmed. At 8:22 p.m., Caroline puts the mobility scooter in reverse and backs into a display. She then talks to the man in the orange shirt. Caroline appears to be smiling during this conversation. As Caroline moves the scooter forward, her daughter steps out of the footwell onto the floor. It appears as though Caroline runs over her daughter's foot. The man in the orange shirt offers assistance. Right after this, Mahendra can be seen walking back into the view of the camera as Caroline drives forward. She is not moving quickly. She does not appear to be alarmed. It's not like she is trying to escape from him. Mahendra requests assistance from the man in the orange shirt. At 8:23 p.m., Mahendra walks past Caroline on the scooter and approaches another employee looking for help. He is still searching for the Tylenol. Mahendra and this employee walk back to where Mahendra had been searching for the Tylenol, and she helps him locate the item. Now with the Tylenol in his hand, Mahendra once again walks near Caroline on the scooter. He shows her that he successfully obtained the Tylenol. Caroline gives him a thumbs up, and Mahendra goes on his way. She does not scream. She does not call for help. Caroline does not appear to be alarmed. This man allegedly attempted to kidnap her son, yet Caroline seems remarkably calm. Caroline flags down an employee, which appears to be the same employee that helped Mahendra find the Tylenol. Caroline can be seen talking to the employee at 8:27 p.m., presumably sharing her story about a tug-of-war with Mahendra. At the same time, Mahendra makes his way to a cashier and purchases the Tylenol. He is not looking around, not looking over his shoulder, not in a hurry. He does not appear to be nervous. The form of payment he selected was a debit card bearing his name, which seems like a strange tactic for somebody trying to escape the scene of an alleged crime. At 8:28 p.m., Mahendra walks away from the register. He then speaks to an employee for 33 seconds before exiting the store at 8:29 p.m. This is where the video ends. As I mentioned, 3 days later, Mahendra Patel was arrested and charged in connection with attempting to kidnap Caroline Miller's 2-year-old son, Jude. This brings me to the question, is Mahendra guilty? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that he is guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. At 8:21 p.m., Mahendra appeared to have his hands on Caroline's son, Jude, very briefly. That's pretty much it for the inculpatory factors. Now, the police have argued that the video released by Mahendra's attorney appears to have been edited. They said, it's not the video we have. They are implying that they have a video which contains something more inculpatory, but they have not released it. As far as I'm concerned, I can't consider evidence unless it's available to review. I'm not going to take their word for it. There's no good reason for them not to release the video if they really have it. I can appreciate that this is an ongoing investigation. However, they have already identified a suspect. There is no way the investigation could be damaged by making the video public. If they have a smoking gun, this would be the time to reveal it. Now moving to the exculpatory factors. As far as Mahendra putting his hands on Caroline's son Jude, there are reasonable explanations other than attempted kidnapping. For example, perhaps Caroline did not have a good grip on Jude. The whole setup that she was using with the mobility scooter was not ideal. Caroline should not have been on that machine in the first place. Maybe she lost her grip, or Mahendra reasonably believed she lost her grip, and Mahendra was simply trying to prevent Jude from falling to the floor. This perception by Mahendra is understandable, especially in light of Caroline using the mobility scooter. These scooters are, theoretically, reserved for people with disabilities. Maybe Mahendra thought Caroline was disabled and therefore may have been in more need of assistance than usual. How was Mahendra supposed to know that Caroline was using a scooter even though she did not need one? If Mahendra had actually tried to take Jude, as Caroline claimed, why didn't Caroline scream? Why didn't she strike him? Why wasn't she hysterical? Why did she drive away slowly as if nothing happened at all? Why did she smile at the employee in the orange shirt instead of telling him about the attempted kidnapping? This was supposedly a life-or-death situation where Caroline was fighting to keep her son, yet her reaction indicates otherwise. Caroline claimed that there was a 10-second tug-of-war between her and Mahendra. Based on the video, that simply did not happen. Nothing even close to that happened. Why did Caroline give Mahendra a thumbs up after he showed her the Tylenol? Why did Caroline wait 6 minutes before talking to an employee? One would think that an attempted kidnapping would warrant immediate action. According to Mahendra's attorney, Caroline waited for a half hour before notifying the police. Mahendra's behavior was not consistent with a man who just tried to kidnap someone. He did not run away. He did not seem agitated or nervous. He wasn't looking over his shoulder. Mahendra used a debit card bearing his name to make the purchase. And after this, he talked to an employee for 33 seconds. Then there is this problem with the logistics. If Mahendra's objective was to perpetrate a kidnapping, how was he planning to get away with it? What was he going to do? Grab Caroline's son, put him under his arm, and walk out of the store? Was he hoping nobody would notice? What was his plan after this? Where was he going to take Jude? To his primary residence? His family members probably would have noticed and had a few questions. The Walmart store was not empty. For instance, there was an employee just a few feet away from where the alleged kidnapping took place. Again, the man in the orange shirt. The police would have people believe that Mahendra suddenly and inexplicably decided to become a kidnapper and pick the worst possible location to begin his life of crime. It does not make any sense. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I believe that Mahendra Patel is guilty? In my opinion, no. He is not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Barring some additional evidence, like the video the police claim to have but have not released, there is no way Mahendra could be convicted by any reasonable jury. More than just not guilty by the legal standard, I believe he is actually innocent. Furthermore, he may want to consider civil action to help compensate him for this injustice. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. At the time I'm making this video, this case has not yet been resolved. As I mentioned, the police claim they have more evidence. If this is true, who knows what the outcome will be? Based on what is available right now, I believe that Caroline strongly overreacted to a benign encounter with Mahendra. I don't know why she did this. It's anybody's guess. Maybe she truly believed that she ran into a poorly prepared Walmart kidnapper. Maybe there is another motive. There is no way to know. Instead of recognizing how Caroline overreacted, the police doubled down on her ill-advised decision and moved forward with the case against Mahendra. He does not appear to be dangerous. One could argue that Caroline's scooter driving skills have a greater probability of causing harm than Mahendra's product search tactics. I think the lesson learned here, sadly, is that when in public, it is critical to avoid any physical contact with human beings. It's concerning that the world has come to this, but it has. Making an accusation is very easy. People would be wise not to provide any ammunition that can be used against them. Any contact, no matter how benign, can be twisted into a terrifying narrative that the police are all too eager to believe. This makes me wonder if society is only one step away from every citizen wearing a body camera all the time. It seems like a ridiculous idea, but it would have prevented a lot of grief in this case. I find it ironic that Mahendra was accused of kidnapping, yet ultimately he was actually a victim of kidnapping, at least in a sense. This was by the police acting under the color of law, but the devastating result is the same. No matter what one calls it or how one justifies it, Mahendra has lost his freedom. Those are my thoughts on the case of Caroline Miller and Mahendra Patel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.